Hey everyone, Synthetic Future here, and today we're going to once again look at the Arturia CZ-V. I had originally planned to include this into the first video I did, but I forgot about this. So hey, there's a second video. Also, this series about making patches, I was hoping to do it more regularly, but it didn't really work out, so I guess we're restarting the series. Why not? So the Arturia CZ-V, pretty cool synthesizer, definitely one of the V collection I recommend checking out, even though at first sight you might think, well, that looks a bit stupid. It actually isn't. It's a lot of fun. And let's just start with something really basic. Let's quickly set this thing to sawtooth. That's not a sawtooth. This is. There we go. So first thing I completely forgot to mention is unison, in the sense of general unison. So you can unison the entire synthesizer if you want to. Let's do 3 voices. That's down here. And up here you can use the unison detune to detune all the sounds of the synthesizer in one go. That's pretty cool. And if you put on line 2, so it detunes the entire synthesizer, so any weird things you do here will be included in the detune in both voices. So you can't set the amount of detuned voices per line or something like that. It's the entire thing is unison. But that's still a pretty awesome feature to have. So that's thing 1 I wanted to show. And let's quickly turn off the unison again. Also you have a octave tuner here. Pretty useful as well. Especially if you have a smaller keyboard, it can be nice to quickly change where you are. Although many smaller keyboards also have octave up and down keys. So. I also switched for this little video to the MPK Mini, so small keys. I might do some weird things. That's just me not being used to small keys. Right, second cool thing. First off, you can link the waveforms. That's pretty cool. So you can change them both in one go. Let's just turn this up. So that's pretty awesome. And you can actually copy any settings from this line to the other line with the copy button. And a neat thing to keep in mind here is when you copy this bottom part and you copy whatever screen is active. So let's, for instance, do this. So I have this weird shape here. Now I can go to the DCW. And I can actually copy this shape from the amp into the DCW. Just like that. If this is faster, it's actually pretty cool. So there you go. And you can of course copy from DCW to DCW if you want to. And you could copy from left to right. Well, that's pretty cool as well. Another thing I did not mention. Let's quickly initialize. There we go. Is this thing has a custom, so you can make your own waveform, which is pretty interesting. So this consists of 2 things. You have your base and your target. So your base is where it starts, and your target is where it ends up once you twist this little knob here. So right now you can see our base is just this slope, and this translates to a sine wave. If you turn it all the way up, you get a flat line. If you turn it all the way down, you get a flat line as well. And if you have one side to the halfway point, you will get a sawtooth. Now let me link these. So that's a sawtooth. That's a nothing. That's a sine. And that's nothing. Now if you have it around halfway and you actually put it down, you get a square wave. And you can change the PWM, the pulse width. You can't actually modulate this. That's a bit of a shame, but you can change the pulse width of your square by moving this around. Now you can sort of fake PWM by taking this, and let's just quickly make it a little bit neater, because right now it's a little bit sloppy. So there we go. Nice and neat. So what we can do now is we can set a target. So this is where it starts. Now create a target. We set this one to 0.5. We create a second point at 0.5. We create a third point at 0. There we go. And we move this one over here, and this one as well. Go. Now what happens is when we start to turn the DCW knob is that it's going to morph from our base point to our target point. Especially keep an eye down here on the phase distortion window, and you will see there it goes. That's pretty neat. It's a really weird way of pulse width modulation, but you can make it a little bit smoother by actually moving this back. Now this won't be a true square wave, as you will see. It will make it a little bit more saw-like, but at the same time it is a bit of a smoother transition. So you can sort of modulate the pulse width, but not really. Still a neat trick nonetheless, and you can go absolutely bananas in this view as well. Your base and your targets do not need to have the same amount of points, so if you want to have this as your target, mind you can always take these little anchor thingies and make slopes. So let's make a few slopes here. There we go, so this is our target, this is our base, and if we morph between these, it actually does a pretty good job. Keep your eye on here and keep your eye here on the blue line. That's your active shape. So that's the custom shapes you can use. You unfortunately can't copy these, I think. No. However, you can save them as a preset and load them on this side if you want to. So that's a decent enough workaround. If you want to, you can just save it as a preset, load it on the other side, and use it on line 1 and line 2. Just to hammer in that you can do this in unison as well. You can just throw it into unison mode. And that's pretty interesting. Very interesting. So let's keep this weird line set up. Let's turn line 2 off for now. And also an interesting thing to note is that this type of synthesis kind of forces you to think in an inverted way. Let's put it that way. Because you have to kind of work from your target sound to your base sound, because you don't have a filter. Well, you could use the effects filter, but let's use the synthesizer as it was made originally, and you don't have a filter, so you have to kind of work out your destination sound and work backwards so you can filter out any harmonics you might not want. That's interesting. It's a different way of approaching the problem. Is it a problem? Challenge? Approaching sound design, maybe? Might be better, doesn't matter. Let's just throw in a little bit of release. Now you can grab in the top here on the bar. And if you drag down, you zoom in. If you drag up, you zoom out. So that's pretty neat. are hitting some limiters, so we are going to have to master volume it down a little bit, which is here. Well, that's a bit much. Let's go. Should be good. Alright, a little bit more like this. We want to make it swell a little bit. And what we can do now. Smooth it out a little bit. That's better. And let's just create just a little bit of movement here. And what we can do is we can do it like this, for instance. And we are going to have to check how good this sounds. But you can just drag the loop markers around as well, or you can set it down here. Still not enough. That's pretty cool. If you want to, you can actually sync this as well. That might actually be better. Would it be better? I'm not quite sure if it would be better, but we can give it a shot. Maybe it's better because we can actually make it duck a little bit. So let's say... Oops, there we go. So what's our scale here? Okay, this is 2 bars. Let's say it takes a little bit to wind up. So what we are going to attempt is to make it fake sidechain a little bit. And we are going to need more attack. That's pretty good. So let's put this here, and now we can actually duck it here. There we go. And we turn it into a loop again. It's a bit too fast. That's pretty good. So let's get some drums in here so we can actually see if this lines up in any meaningful way. Let's hope it does. I'm just going to grab XO because XO is nice and easy to work with. And XO, if it wants to load at least. There we go. The bass setting is actually pretty nice. I will not lie, it's pretty awesome. Yeah. that works. So that's a little trick you can do. Fix sidechaining in the envelope. Because you have this looper function, it's pretty easy to do. You could go crazy and like create little sidechain ducts in here as well. A little bit tricky, but doable. But I don't think that during the rise it really needs it. So let's just keep it here. Let's just throw this in sync as well while we're on it. Put sustain at 2. That seems about right. And let's just make this a even riser. So now in the background we can actually see where our sidechain ducker is going, and we can, if we want to, actually, and that might be better. So this is our sustain, so we can't take it off the floor. Let's put it there. Let's put this one right about here. And let's just kind of do a thing here as well. That's pretty fun. Actually, let's just might be better if this one doesn't quite reach 0. So let's do it like this. Sort of follow the arc. That's pretty good. Pretty good, pretty good. Not pretty high sound, so if we want to, we can actually throw in. There we go. Now we might want to take this and get this same thing going in the other one. So I think I can actually just click this one and do it like this. There we go. Nice. Nice. We're getting somewhere. And let's actually take the amp and let's clone that as well. That's pretty cool. And what we might want to do now is take the DCW from 2, and it's a little bit harsh, so let's just put this to here, maybe. Alright. That's pretty cool. Should be good. Let's not mess with the pitch, because that's always a little bit dangerous. Can get some weird things. Also, our changes are reflected here as well, so anything you change in envelopes will be displayed here as well. And I honestly, oh, there we go. Yep. So you can see it here as well. Same trick, you can click this bar, drag and drop to zoom in. Yep. The only thing you can't change here is the loop points. Well, you can change the loop points, but you can't activate the loop points. Unsure why, but that seems to be a decision Arturia made for that. So now we have this going. We have this little sidechain paddy sort of thing going. Let's just add some random to this, because a little bit of random always goes a long way. So let's take the DCW envelope depth. That actually works. Let's take the line 2 envelope depth as well. Let's make use of the combinator. So let's just turn this up a little bit. Alright. Does nothing, of course, because right now there's no source. So we want to have a sample and hold. So now we get a little bit of extra randomness in the shape of the wave. So you can actually see it jumping around here in the bottom screen a little bit. And let's just add the mod wheel to this as a multiplier. Maybe that's cool. Okay. A little trick many people do to get sort of the vintage air quotes thing going is just taking the sample and hold and patching it straight into the pitch. And here you actually might want to use the fine tune, which was actually an option somewhere. No, just pitch. I believe there was an option for the fine tune as well. Maybe only in the unison detune. Oh, only in the line detune, the left from the right channel. Okay, so that's fine. Let's not mess with that. Let's keep that as is, and let's just add a little bit. Not much. Ooh, my CPU is hating me. Might be background processes. I do have some other stuff running, so that's probably the issue I have going on here. Right, so that's pretty awesome. Now we may want to add just a smidgen of chorus. Actually, we want to maybe smooth out the sample and hold just a little bit. Yeah, that's prettier. A little bit of chorus. Will give us a little bit of stereo, and if we add a touch of reverb, really wide, pretty. We can actually make that stereo sound a little bit bigger as well, so it's a cool little trick. Let's see, is there anything else we would like to do with this sound? I think this is actually pretty good. Might be a slight bit, so I might just make this a saw. It's pretty awesome. Let's do a ring. Actually, if we could modulate the ring amount, that might be interesting. Let's see if we can actually do that. Let's just take the LFO, and let's see if we can ring noise mod amount. We can. Alright, that's cool. Actually mess this up. Let me quickly fix that. Sure. So I really want to slow this down. Let's just put it into binary mode. Let's go for... It's pretty good. That's pretty good. That's a pretty interesting sidechaining sort of sound. It's pretty cool. So let's add some macros to this, because macros are pretty important, I think, because it allows people to shape the sound a little bit. So what might we want to shape in here? Actually, we could change how much harshness the sound gets. Let's do that. Oops, and we can just put that on macro 1. Alright, so that's our macro 1. Macro 2, we might want to change the... can we actually change the sidechain-like behavior of this thing? Not really, although we could make it faster. So we could say envelope rate multiplier, which we need for the envelope. Let's give that a try. Envelope, and this one. So realistically, I would say right around 20% is probably the cutoff. So we want to set this one to something like 0.3. There we go. Yeah. That's plenty fast and plenty slow. So this is our harsh. This is our speed. So I change speed. Cool. What else might we want to change on this thing? I don't think we can actually change the attack curve. That is a shame. Line 1 amplifier. Macro 3. Line 1. Depth. Rate multiplier. No, we can't do that. We can change pitch or level. It's not really things we want to change, although we could change the LFO2 amplitude, and we could actually use LFO2 for something. That might be interesting. So let's just throw this in here, and let's take LFO2 on this page. Now I keep the macros and the other stuff separate where I can, but once you create many things, it will overflow at some point. So, but for the time being, let's try to keep it separate. Which is a little bit challenging, because 8 mod slots looks like a lot, but once you start to do stuff like this, it goes a little bit faster than you would hope. So where are we going to put LFO2? LFO2 could actually mess with the effects. That doesn't really make sense. Although it could create a little bit of a pitch warble. That might actually be cool. So let's take line 2 pitch. Oh, we already have the pitch here. Awesome. So let's just take this out. Pitch. There we go. Okay. So that's a little bit weird. Not exactly the idea I had in mind. Let's actually put this into binary mode as well. And let's put it at, I think, 116. That's cool. So this is our added tremolo. We could actually just use the vibrato here, which does a really good job, by the way. But now we have a tremolo here, so why not? I think that's actually everything you might want to do with this sound. You could probably, I don't know if you want to. Let's just for the hell of it throw in the bit crusher and use our last slot for our compressor. So what we want to do here is we can only change the release. That's no good. That's no good. That's no good. Let's just keep the compressor for now. Yeah, pretty cool. Yes, so what we are going to do with macro 4 is make it something that can make our sound a little bit harsher. So what we are going to do is we are going to take our effects. We are taking a bit crusher. So we take the wet. We want the bit crusher effects. Bit crusher wet dry. Like that. And we want the global master volume. Probably want to nudge that down a little bit if we turn it up. We actually don't have to. Okay, that's pretty awesome. Something like this. And we can just quickly label it crush, and now we have a pretty flexible sound. So there we go, a sidechainy pad sound in the Arturia CZ-V, while showing you a few of the features I hadn't really shown before, like the looper for sidechaining, the custom shapes, copying, pasting of envelopes, and linking envelopes in the editing view. So learned a few things, made a preset, win-win situation. I will just save this preset. You can just recreate it from the video if you want to, and it will eventually end up in a bundle on my Gumroad. Right now there are already a few packs on my Gumroad which you can pick up if you want to. They are priced for free. However, donations are always welcome because this software is pretty damn expensive. Can I say damn? I don't know. There's no monetization anyways, so why not? That's it for now, at least. I hope you found this interesting. I hope you learned a little thing. And I will attempt, I will not promise anything, but I will attempt to do a few more of these videos to show you a little bit of a patching methodology in some of these synthesizers, which hopefully helps some people out. Yeah, have a great night. See ya.